Hey y'all, I'm back with better lighting too at the suggestion of my wife. You can actually see my face in this one. That other one I was blending with my shirt. So more about the acai berry and the different companies that are out there. You'll definitely hear a lot of companies say that freeze-dried acai is the best, and that's generally because that's what they make. Sambazon. Then you'll hear people say that juices are the best because that's what they make. Genesis today. I happen to believe that juices are the best. I think that powdered acai is the equivalent of powdered milk. It'll do in a pinch, but if you can get real milk, drink real milk. Powdered acai tends to be cheaper because it weighs less and it has been processed. And so you just got to know that when you take those acai pills, they're processed. You're not getting the full fat content that is found in the juice of the acai. You're not getting the full fiber content that's found in the juice of the acai because it's been processed. Traditionally, the native people in the Amazons used acai as a food. And now that I think about it, acai kind of has like an olive taste, but way, way better. Acai wishes it tastes as good as olives do. But it kind of does. The oil, the fatty content reminds me of a whole bunch of black olives. Or what are those ones that I don't like a lot? I think they're Kalamatas or something. There's a particular black olive that I'm just like, that's what acai reminds me of, only 10 times worse. So there are going to be a lot of companies out there that say ours is the best because blah, 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 or the best acai is blah, 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 and lo and behold, that's the kind they make. So just be aware that people do that, but just remember the whole powdered milk versus regular milk comparison, and I would go for the juices when they're all possible. The other thing that you can do for weight loss when you're doing the acai is to eat a lot, actually. Eat a lot. It really depends on what you eat if you're going to gain a lot of weight. The general rule of thumb is you want to have 3 meals and about 3 snacks every day. So you'd have breakfast, and then about 2 to 3 hours later you have a snack, then you have lunch, 2 to 3 hours later you have a snack, and then you would probably have a snack a couple hours before dinner, and then you have dinner. And it's real key that you have a cutting off time of when you're going to have your last meal. You want to put about 3 to 4 hours between your last meal and when you go to bed. And the reason why is you eat full food to keep you going and to fuel you up. And if you eat and then you go to bed in an hour or two, that food's just sitting there. It's not really going to be used to be burned as energy. So what does your body do? Stores it for a rainy day. And so if you make sure that you go to bed a few hours after you eat, then at least while you're, walking or, rummaging around the house or just kicking your feet while you're watching TV, then you will burn a lot more of that off, and less of it will be able to be stored as fat. Another thing, speaking of fat, the reason why it's harder sometimes for women to lose weight more so than men is, number one, they tend to have a higher percentage of muscle mass than we do. But number two, do you all remember when you were in grade school, if you're not still there, that story about all the colonists and pioneers who went west, and that one in particular called the Donner Trail, where they didn't get to California quick enough and they got snowed in, and they ate all their food, and then that ran out, and then they ate the horses and that ran out, and then they started eating people, like the dead people, or I don't know if they killed anybody, but I know they they were turned cannibalistic. Well, I think they did start to go a little bit insane because your brain needs fat. Your brain needs fat to survive. And the men started going crazy first because the women store fat. And the reason why we store fat is because whether you use your womb or not, you're built to make babies. And you have to be able to survive a lot of stuff, including starvation, so that the baby can be born. So anyway, that's why women tend to lose weight at a slower rate than men, and that's why we also tend to be a bit more sane than them. Anyhow, so for this acai to really work, You definitely need to be eating. When you eat every few hours, your metabolism is constantly going, and it's burning and it's burning and it's burning. When you eat one meal a day, your metabolism doesn't have to work very hard. And the thing about your body is it doesn't realize that you're a 21st century human being. It still thinks you're a hunter and gatherer. Evolutionary changes take a lot longer to register physically in your body versus mentally. And so your body just thinks that, all right, the hunters in your tribe aren't very good. They haven't been catching anything, so you guys are in lean times, and so I'm gonna hang on to every bit of fat that I can get so that she doesn't die, or so that he doesn't die. And that's the thing about people who starve themselves. That's why they never lose weight. I mean, they might for a little bit, but then it comes right back because they lost lean muscle mass. So if you eat on a regular basis, every few hours, then your metabolism is constantly going. It's going to help you burn fat. And the acai is good for that because it does have essential fatty acids and it does have fiber in it. But you cannot depend on that alone to help you lose weight. You can't. You've got to exercise. You've got to eat right. And you've got to eat really good foods. You want to stay away from alcohol and caffeine and sugars, which also includes fruit juices. So instead of having apple juice, eat the apple. Instead of having orange juice, eat the orange. Because when you break that down, that's pure sugar as well. Just because it's natural doesn't mean it's not going to make you gain weight, because it can. So be aware of your acai choices. I wouldn't buy any acai online unless there weren't any health food stores in your area. I would definitely go to my local health food store because those people are going to be the ones that have the latest knowledge. They're going to have the latest research, and then you don't really have to go out and do it. Now, if you're one of those people that want to, then get on those websites that I have posted right over here, and you can check out their acai and their cleanses, which I highly recommend. We're doing really, really well with those cleanses from Renew Life, and really, really well with the acai juices from Genesis Today. There is one that we have in capsules from a company called Nature's Plus. They have a good reputation in the industry. That one's about $11 or so. The Sambazon one, all I know of them is that they do rainforest herbs, and I don't know what else they make besides acai. I'm sure they do. I know they do smoothies, but that has acai in it. Oh, also that company Alicer, they have a emergency that has acai in it. I think it's an immune boosting one that has acai in it. Oh, it tastes so bad. Then there's a company called Fruitinex or Fruitrients, like nutrients, Fruitrients. They do an acai as well. And that's a pretty good company. They like to base off a lot of their stuff off of food. So I always find that interesting. Anyhow, I also like to look at where different latest trends, where they come from and where they're derived. And that, like I said, the native people in South America that use the acai berry eat it. They're not using it for weight loss. And, they probably don't have weight problems because they're actually moving around and they're actually eating a good amount of fiber and protein and all that jazz. But anyhow, if you're interested in acai and you have any questions, hit me up, give me some comments, let me know. I'll be happy to help anybody with questions and help you pick out a good one, because like I said, you don't want to waste your money. Oh, and if you can't return your item to the store you bought it from, I wouldn't go back there either, because we get credit. We get credit from our vendors. All we have to do is turn it in and say the customer didn't like it, and any good vendor will give you credit. So don't fall for that bullshit. We don't have returns. That's stupid. All right, y'all have a good night, and I will see you later.